51.
I'm sorry.
51. That is the exact number of blog posts our subject wrote in the first 15 days of this year. We're talking January 2026.
Wow. That's aggressive. More than 3 posts a day. Every single day.
Right. Usually for one of these deep dives, we're looking at, a bunch of articles or maybe a new book.
Or a trending topic.
Exactly. But today, we're doing something a little different. We are zooming in, and the pun is intended on a single personal website. It's called qianmeng.org.
And we're really unpacking just one post. It's got this very unassuming title, Notes on Photography, Part 225. Modular camera or microscope?
And if you just saw that title, you'd think, okay, maybe a gear review.
A shopping list, something like that. Super niche.
But as we dug in and we went deep into the archives, we realized this isn't really about cameras at all.
Not even close. It's more like a psychological profile. The author, a guy named Ang, he calls himself a software plumber.
And this one post, it's a window into how a super learner thinks about the world, about tech, nature, all of it.
Yeah, it really is.
So the mission for this deep dive is to figure out how a really simple choice, do I buy a camera or do I buy a microscope, actually reveals this massive personal philosophy.
It's all about how you learn and how you see the world. A masterclass in systems thinking, really.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's mid-January 2026. Ang is out on a grocery run.
Totally normal stuff.
And then he sees something, and it triggers that feeling we all know. That very dangerous emotion for anyone who loves tech.
Oh, the shiny object syndrome. Or in this case, it's more like nostalgia.
He spots a modular camera. Now, he doesn't say which one, but he mentions it reminds him of things released between, 2013 and 2015.
Yeah, so a little over a decade ago.
For anyone who might have, blocked the mid-2010s from their memory, what was the whole modular dream about?
So back then, there was this massive hype cycle coming out of Silicon Valley. And the idea was that your phone or your camera, it shouldn't be this one sealed slab of glass and metal that you have to throw away every couple of years.
Right. It should be more like Lego.
Exactly. You buy a base frame, a skeleton, and then if you want a better camera, you just clip on a new camera module.
Battery dies, you swap in a new battery.
On a faster processor.
Yeah.
You just upgrade that one chip. It was the ultimate right to repair fantasy.
It sounds perfect on paper. So Ang sees one of these relics on his grocery run, and he admits the temptation was strong. He actually writes about having gear acquisition syndrome, GAS.
We've all been there.
And he wanted to take macro photos, these really close-up pictures of his hobbies. And this thing just seems so flexible.
But he didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And this is where that software plumber brain really kicks in.
Yeah.
He doesn't look at the cool factor.
No.
He looks at all the potential failure points.
He's doing a risk assessment right there in the aisle.
He is. And the very first thing he flags is the battery. And this is a key insight for anyone thinking about buying vintage tech. He points out these devices are over 10 years old. And lithium-ion batteries just have a shelf life. Even if that camera was still in the box, never opened, the battery inside has chemically degraded.
It's a brick.
It's a paperweight. And because it was such a niche product from, 2014, you can't just walk into a store in 2026 and find a replacement.
So much for modular.
Right. It's not sustainable if the entire supply chain for the parts is dead.
He also mentions just general wear and tear build quality. So yeah, the nostalgia wore off pretty fast. But he didn't give up on the idea. He looked at the modern equivalent, which would be action cameras.
He did. And in 2026, action cams are everywhere. They're small, they're tough. You could argue they're kind of modular with all the mounts and accessories.
But he says no to those, too. Why? They're amazing these days.
2 big reasons. First, cost. He makes the point that a high-end action cam now costs as much as a proper mirrorless camera, a full DSLR setup.
That's a fair critique.
But the second reason is the real deal breaker for him. It's about specific utility. He says they're, and this is a quote, poorly suited for a dedicated macro photography system.
Okay, let's pause on macro. We're talking super close-up photos, bugs, flowers, that kind of thing.
Right. But there's a big difference between just getting close-up and getting, microscopic. And that's the pivot point for this whole deep dive.
He realizes he doesn't just want a cool picture for his Instagram.
He's trying to solve a problem. He's trying to see something more deeply.
And he writes, ultimately, the prospect of investing in a microscope is becoming far more enticing.
A microscope. He goes from a consumer gadget to a scientific instrument.
That is a huge leap. It's like saying, I want a faster way to get to work, and then deciding to buy a locomotive.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But this is where you have to look at the context. If you just read that one post, he sounds a little eccentric, maybe.
Just a bit.
But we looked at the sidebar of his website, the everything else section. And once you see what this guy's actually interested in, the microscope is the only logical choice.
That sidebar it's just insane. It's like the Library of Alexandria for one person's brain.
It's a perfect example of what people are calling a digital garden. He isn't just blogging for an audience. He's documenting his own learning in public. He's tending to his knowledge.
Okay, just run through the list so people get the scale here. First, there's the tech stuff, obviously. He's got notes on Elixir, Erlang, Python, AI, Haskell, Rust, Go.
So, a polyglot programmer. He speaks multiple, very complex machine languages. The guy clearly understands logic and systems.
But then, right next to all that code you have, notes on gardening, notes on fish keeping, notes on dieting, home improvement, guitar, meditation.
And the sheer volume. You mentioned the 51 posts this month. We checked the archives. He's been doing this since 2011. He's consistently hitting 60-plus posts a month.
That is a staggering amount of discipline. I struggle to write one email a day sometimes.
It tells you he's a true super learner. He doesn't just dabble in things. If he gets into a hobby, he documents it, he analyzes it, and he iterates. He treats his hobbies with the same rigor that he treats his code.
Okay, so let's connect this back. Why does a guy who writes code in Haskell and grows ferns need a microscope?
Let's start with the fish. His notes on fish keeping is up to part 174.
Part 174. That is a lot of notes on fish.
And look at the recent post titles. The Blackbeard algae, and tubifex worms.
Blackbeard algae sounds like a pirate, but I'm guessing it's a pest.
It is the absolute scourge of aquarium owners. It's this dark, fuzzy algae that just covers everything, and it's almost impossible to get rid of.
Ah.
Now think back to the camera dilemma. If you have a regular camera, you can take a picture of your fish tank looking dirty.
Okay, so now I have a really nice high-resolution photo of a mess.
Exactly. But if you have a microscope, you can scrape off a sample. You can see the actual cellular structure of the algae. You can confirm what species it is. You can look at the tubifex worms you bought and see if they're healthy or if they're carrying parasites.
It transforms the hobby from just pet ownership into, like, amateur marine biology?
Precisely. It moves from simple observation to diagnosis. And that is the software plumber mindset. When your code breaks, you don't just stare at the error message and guess. You check the logs. You go deep.
He's literally debugging his aquarium.
Yes, and he's doing the exact same thing with his garden.
His notes on gardening is at part 779, and he's posting about propagating ferns via spores.
Have you ever actually seen a fern spore?
I think so. It's that, like, brown, dusty stuff on the back of the leaf, right?
To the naked eye, yeah, it's just dust. But under a microscope, it is a completely alien world. You can see the geometric structure, the casing. You can watch the moment it cracks open. He's also writing about seed viability.
So if a seed doesn't sprout, he doesn't just want to shrug and throw the packet away. He wants to know why.
He wants to investigate. He wants to see the seed coat, see if there's a fungus attacking the root. He wants data. A modular camera gives you art. A microscope gives you data. And for a guy who also writes notes on AI, data is everything.
That makes so much sense. The microscope is the bridge. It connects the fish and the plants. But what about the coding part you mentioned? He lists Haskell and Rust. I'm not a coder, but I know those are intense.
They are. Haskell is what's called a functional programming language. It's very mathematical, very strict. It's not about just hacking something together to make it work. It's about proving that the logic itself is sound. You have to be incredibly precise, really granular.
So if you're the kind of person who enjoys the mental discipline of Haskell,
then you are absolutely the kind of person who is not satisfied with just surface-level answers. You want to see the machinery. You want to understand how the logic works at the smallest possible level.
I love that parallel. The microscope is a debugger for the natural world.
It really is. It bridges the gap between his digital life and his biological one. And honestly, it perfectly explains why the camera just didn't make the cut.
How so?
Because a camera, most of the time, is about capturing a moment to look at later or to show other people.
Right.
It's about output.
Right.
But a microscope is about inquiry. It's a tool for active work. He's not just looking, he's studying.
There's another layer here we touched on with the whole battery thing, but I think it's deeper. It's about the ethics of our tools.
Black box problem.
Yes. On his sidebar, he links out to the EFF and the FSF. the Electronic Frontier Foundation and the Free Software Foundation.
Right. These are groups that advocate for digital privacy, open access, user freedom, open source. The idea that you should be able to see the code, modify the code, really own your tools.
And most modern gadgets are the total opposite of that. They're sealed shut.
They're black boxes.
Yeah.
You press a button, some magic happens inside, but you have no idea how. And more importantly, if it breaks, you can't fix it. That modular camera he was looking at is a black box disguised as Lego.
But a microscope.
A microscope is just physics. It's glass and metal and light. Light goes in, a lens bends it, it hits your eye. There's no software that's going to crash, no server that can go offline. If a lens gets dirty, you can unscrew it and you can clean it.
It's honest.
It's repairable. A good microscope from the 1970s is still perfectly usable today. A digital camera from 2015 is e-waste. For an old software plumber who values things that last, the microscope is the only philosophical choice.
It's a quiet rebellion against the whole upgrade cycle.
It absolutely is. He's opting out of that consumer rat race and choosing a tool that will probably outlive him. He says the microscope is far more enticing, and I think that enticement is all about reliability.
I was also struck by the sheer variety of his other notes. He's got notes on dieting, talking about parboiled rice. He has notes on meditation. It's like he treats his own body and mind as projects to be debugged.
He does. With the rice, he's probably analyzing the glycemic index, again, data. With meditation, he's debugging his own attention span. He's looking for the glitches in his own mental code.
And he even has a category called This Week I Learned and another one, Research Papers to Read.
That's the perpetual student. He's not an influencer. He's not trying to sell you a brand of fish food. He is just learning out loud.
It makes me wonder what his notes on microscopy will look like in a few months. Because you know he's going to add a new category for it.
Oh, I would bet money on it. And it won't just be, hey, look at this cool bug. It'll be linked to a research paper on insect anatomy. He'll probably write a little Python script to analyze the color patterns on a fern spore.
He's going to integrate it into his digital garden.
Exactly. He's going to open source the microscopic world. He's taking the hidden parts of his hobbies, the algae, the root systems, and documenting them with the same rigor he uses for his code.
It really reframes that whole grocery run story. He didn't just walk past a camera and think, too expensive.
No.
Yeah.
He walked past a whole philosophy that just didn't align with his own. He chose the scientific instrument over the consumer gadget, the tool for understanding over the tool for just capturing.
So we started this deep dive with a simple camera lens, but we've ended up talking about something much bigger. We're talking about intentionality.
It's about asking why we buy the things we buy. He stood there and asked, does this fit my system? Is this sustainable? Does this help me see the truth? Or just a pretty picture?
And for all of us, for you listening, I think that's the real challenge. We're constantly sold the next big thing, the phone with more megapixels, the smart toaster.
But maybe the lesson here is to look for tools that deepen our understanding, not just ones that offer convenience or novelty.
It's a difference between being a consumer and being, well, a plumber. Someone who gets their hands dirty and understands how things work.
Or a gardener, cultivating knowledge instead of just consuming content.
So here's our final thought for you to chew on today. Look at the device you're holding right now, or the laptop on your desk. Ask yourself, is it a black box?
Does it hide the world from you behind slick interfaces and notifications?
Or is it a lens? Does it actually help you see your work, your hobbies, your life more clearly?
Are you just buying new batteries for a dying toy? Or are you investing in glass that lasts forever?
Something to think about the next time you get that tech nostalgia itch. Huge thanks to Aang, the software plumber at keyandmeng.org, for sharing his world with all of us.
Keep looking closer.
We'll catch you in the next deep dive.